Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 297 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, September 26th, 2023. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, you ready to talk about the big news of the week?
Always, my man. Always.
So should we start with Taylor Swift and NFL, or what? I mean, that's...
I'm walking out of here. You know what we did wrong, Eric? So we've talked every once in a while. We talk about growing the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And the only thing we needed to do, because I saw the podcast charts today.
Yeah.
And guess who's number one by a long shot? Mr. Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Apparently, all you have to do is date a pop star for however long, and your podcast goes to number one. So
that's the way to do it. Well, I'll tell you what, man. We've mentioned her on the show. Her name will be in the show title, just so you know.
Please don't.
Oh, I'm doing it. I'm doing it, man. I'm gonna SEO, dude. I'm learning SEO stuff at work. I am SEOing it up tonight.
Oh, jeez. Taylor Swift tends nasty.
Sorry to all the Swifties who tuned in. This is all we're talking about Taylor Swift tonight.
I have a group chat with a lot of my buddies from high school, and I said today, because it started up again, and I said, I want to opt out of these group chats. I would like to make this like a newsletter, and I want to opt out. You guys can have your Taylor Swift and your fantasy football chat over here. I don't want to be part of it. I'm going to post about Bluey instead. That didn't go over very well, so whatever.
I mean,
let this be the end of this.
If NASCAR could have the fans that Taylor Swift does, they would be in good shape.
I will tell you, though, I was giving my wife a hard time about that whole situation because she told me it wasn't possible.
Yeah.
And when she showed up, I was giving her the business pretty good. So
I know you're not on a TikTok, but
no,
the TikTok memes of the wives talking about how Kelce now is finally going to be known to everybody now that he's dating Taylor Swift. It's pretty funny. All the guys getting mad.
He hosted SNL. How much more popular?
I know. Well, that's the point. That's the joke. So.
Oh my God. Let's talk about racing. I don't want to talk about her anymore.
Yeah, let's talk about Texas. Autotrader Echopark Automotive 400, Texas Motor Speedway. It was only 400 miles, James, but it felt longer. I had to look it up and make sure it wasn't 500 miles.
I thought about that during the race.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So here's the deal. First of all, William Byron gets the win, locks himself into the round 8. So William Byron's having one of those seasons that...
Will who?
No, don't even. He is having one of those seasons where he's just there. I mean, he just does his thing during the day, doesn't screw up, and he's just there to capitalize at the end. And those are the years that win you championships. And I'll tell you what, man, I know I'm terrible at this, where every week, whoever won, I'm like, oh, he's the guy to watch. But I mean, he's been the guy all season. And even when he's struggled and kind of fell off the map a little bit, he hasn't struggled. He just hasn't won, but he's still right there.
Yeah, it's not like they have bad speed or anything. Since Watkins Glen, he only has one race outside the top 10. It was the 15th at Kansas. He's been just, like you said, Eric, he just hangs around. And then Randy Fugle puts him in position Rudy Fugle. How dare I?
I know.
He's not a Randy.
I'm like,
he's a Rudy.
I know it's not Randy.
Yeah, I know he's not a Randy. He's a Rudy. So anyway, Rudy Fugle, though, you know what the thing with them that I've kind of noticed is where Larson unloads really fast, the 24 builds speed throughout the race, or they find speed throughout the race. They may not unload as fast as the 5, but they are consistently, building upon what they have during the race.
Yeah.
And it came to fruition in this situation where they were just able to be at the right place at the right time and get the good restart that they needed. And, sometimes that's the break you need.
Well, you know what I think it is? And what made me think of this was Kyle Busch this weekend. Kyle Busch basically says in his interview that every time I push it, I overstep the line and I wreck.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think that's the difference between Kyle Larson and William Byron. I think they have the same speed, but Larson is trying to get more out of the car than it has, and William's not.
Yeah, it's very smart. And he's driving kind of above his, experience level, I guess, in that case. I actually really like that.
There's no margin of error with this car, and we saw it when Kyle Larson got sideways underneath Bubba.
That car sucked around so hard, and it's I was listening to some interviews on that earlier this week, and they said it's just unpredictable when the car will suck.
Yep.
And Larson just kind of got nabbed there, and that's a great point too, because Larson can afford to be patient because he is so much better than most people. But that's, Eric, and I think that's why William Byron leads the series and wins right now too. I mean, he's, takes the best opportunities that are given to him and doesn't force the issue. I really like how you brought that together, because I think that makes a ton of sense.
Hey, I'm a professional, man.
You are. You truly are. You truly are.
I joked about this race feeling long, and it did. But, James, I don't think this was a bad race. I think it was a pretty good race for Texas.
No. Yeah, it was fine. It was good. Good restarts at the end.
Dale Jr. talks in his podcast this week that he thinks that Texas is starting to come around. And I don't disagree. Everybody's bitching about turn 1, but we don't want these places easy to drive. So
no,
if they overstep and wreck, good, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a problem with me.
Yeah, the fact that everybody's nervous going through 1 and 2 is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's not... we saw this a little bit at Michigan, too, and they weren't really complaining at Michigan. But sometimes with this car, it's just a tiptoe thing. And it's just, it can be just such a fine line, and I think that's what makes the 1.5 mile racing with this car so much fun.
Yeah.
And even when you don't have the greatest show, you still have, great restarts and cars that are coming and going, and it's just I just like watching these guys try to dance this fine line, and you see some of the best rise to the top. When you get that.
This race 2 years ago would have been an exceptional race. We'd have been very happy with this race at a 1.5 mile track.
Oh, yeah.
The 1.5 mile package has gotten so good at so many tracks. The Kansases are so good that this still doesn't feel, it's not as good as that. But I thought it was a very respectable race. It certainly doesn't make me want to go to Texas twice, but it doesn't make me want to blow the place up anymore either. So that's a plus, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that, I was listening to the Teardown, and Jeff Gluck was talking about how the facility itself needs a lot of work.
Yeah, that's gotten a lot of talk this week.
And I wouldn't be opposed to the track itself. I know they messed it up a little bit, but if they reconfigured it again, I don't think that's the end of the world. It doesn't sound like that's going to be even possible.
Well, I would rather they leave it the way it is than make it another Atlanta.
Yeah. Oh God, no. Yeah, we don't need that. No, we don't need that.
Honestly, maybe just grind the frickin' PJ1 off the surface, and it might be better. Yeah,
we have enough Frankenstein's monsters out there. We don't need another one. It's
no.
I like the where the schedule's at right now, actually, with some of the balance.
Well,
Texas does have its place.
Texas is not like Charlotte. It's not like Atlanta. It's its own track, and that's how it should be.
Yep.
I mean, you're gonna have tracks that don't race as well as others, but it's better than Richmond. I'd rather go to Texas twice than Richmond twice right now.
Yeah, that's right. I know. Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Let's talk Bubba Wallace. 111 laps led in this race. Gets the pole. I mean, runs great all day. 2 terrific restarts. And the last one got him. And really, it wasn't even the restart, I don't think. It was the attempted block into 3.
Yeah, he didn't run his line, and he knew it.
Yep.
He knew it.
What a bummer, man. You go from locking yourself into the next round, essentially a miracle, to now you're outside looking in still. Close, but outside looking in.
And didn't really walk away with as many points as for somebody who led as many laps as he did. He did not place in stage
9th and 10th in the first 2 stages.
9th and
10th and 9th actually.
Yep, 10th and 9th, and that's just brutal when you lead 111 laps. You should be getting max points, not the other way around, and getting minimal points.
Yeah, but Freddie Kraft mentioned on Dover Upper Clear, one guy who did that, who raced there and got points. Tyler Reddick finished first in stage 1. Tyler Reddick finished 25th.
He had something. I mean, that car just sunk.
He hit the wall.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, so you either with track position the way it is, you either go for stage points and finish mid pack, or you go for the win and don't get stage points. And you know, Bubba went for the win, and I think that's what they need to do. I don't think they're safe pointing their way in, especially with the Roval coming. I mean, he's gotten better on road courses, but he's got to get to Talladega, man. A bad day at Talladega makes the Roval an impossible task.
Yep, exactly. Anybody can get wiped out at Talladega, unfortunately. Even if you are good there, there's not much you can do.
Bubba can get out of the Roval if he is good in with a top 15 finish. But if he's in a must-win situation at the Roval, you might as well just skip the idea of making the round of 8.
And Steve Letarte said this during the broadcast, and I really liked this insight. They looked at this round in the history of this round, and they looked at the average points that advance. And he said the number that you got to try to get to is 104. He said if you score 104 points in a round,
I love Steve Letarte, man.
I was really good. I was like, that's really good insight. I'm going to keep an eye on that because in this race, so Bubba Wallace scores 37 points. Now, say what you want, maybe things break a little differently. He wins 2 stages. He could have got out of here with a 3rd place and 57 points, you know, or a little bit more than that, or a little bit less than that, 55 points, something like that. So that's halfway,
right.
You know what I mean, to 104. He's got to make that up at Talladega, which, you know, who knows what's going to happen there. You just never know, you know. The big one can happen early, it can happen anytime. You know, you might be able to get a break and get some points. I don't know what the strategy is moving forward. It's hard to be in Bubba's position, and I think Kyle Larson's in that position now. I mean, they're basically the same. You know, Kyle Larson could have walked away with this win and been totally fine. Now he's kind of towing the rope a little bit, going into Talladega. So, you know, I think when we get there, there's going to be guys that are going to have problems. You just don't want to be one of them, you know?
Right. Yeah, I agree. I just wanted to point out that, too, just while we're looking at it, I know we're looking a week ahead here, but last year, Bubba Wallace finished 7th at the Roval and got 30 points.
Yeah.
Year before, he finished 14th and got 23 points. So he's improved on the road courses, but again, you don't know what's going to happen for sure this year.
It's just this
he's
round.
He's not consistent on road courses. He is consistent at the super speedways for the most part, and usually is in them to the end. And then it just matters where he ends up after that last lap wreck.
Right.
So,
right.
But definitely need a good weekend here at Talladega to make the Roval less stressful.
Yeah, it's got to hurt to know that you could have played the complete role of spoiler in this round.
Yeah.
And this round being as volatile as it is, I think if you're Bubba Wallace and you're Kyle Larson, you're both kind of feeling the exact same right now. It's like, dang it, we let one get away. Whereas something like, you know, you think about how Kyle Busch's day ended, you know, it's like, well, crap.
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to do, right? I mean, you know, it happens. You just kind of get the hands you're dealt, but this is one where you kind of had it in your hands a little bit and you weren't able to capitalize. I almost rather be Kyle Busch and be taken out.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, I know Kyle Busch is in the worst possible situation, but it's like, well, crap, I know what I got to do. I got to go find a way to win.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, Talladega's a lot more clear for Kyle Busch. I mean, he's only 17 points out.
Previous winner at Talladega.
Yeah, but 17 points is not easy against. I mean, every round it gets tougher to make up those points.
Exactly, and you never know. Like, and then that's the thing too. You get caught up in a bad draft, or you know, you can go from 1st to 17th, and you're out. You know, you're out of the points.
Well, shoot, you could be 20th with 5 to go, and you're not going anywhere because there's 2 lanes and none of them move.
Nobody wants to move. Exactly. Everybody's too scared to crash.
Yep. It is interesting though that we've got Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, and Kyle Busch all outside looking in at Talladega, a track that all 3 of them are good at.
Yeah. Ryan Blaney, you brought him up. My God.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, don't speed on pit road.
Right.
Yeah.
He's on borrowed time anyway. Sorry, Blaney fans, but Penske's on borrowed time this year.
Yeah, I guess so.
How about Martin Truex Jr.?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about him.
What a disaster of a postseason.
I'm done. I think I'm done. I don't want to hear about him as a contender anymore. And I've got him in my Final Four, but
yeah, me too.
He's not running good enough.
No.
I mean, he barely scraped through the first round, and he was the points leader. I don't know, man.
He's plus 19 going into Talladega, where he's historically terrible.
I mean, you can just ride around and try to survive if you're him. I mean,
Yeah.
he's gonna probably get through this round, and he just hasn't.
But that's the thing. He gets through this round, and it's reset again, and he's good to go.
And he was upset about his car at Texas after
Yeah.
that, and just screaming on the radio. Man, oh man, I don't know. He's been the worst car. He's been the worst in the playoffs. Ever since Daytona, Eric, his best finish is Texas 17th. Everything else is 18th, 19th, and 36th. So
Yeah.
terrible. This is terrible. Yeah, they're not running championship worthy. They might as well just pack it up if they're going to keep showing up like that. You can't get through that way.
No, you're not going to win a championship that way.
No.
You mentioned Kyle Busch. Whoever made the montage of him driving cars backwards needs to add a clip to it.
Well, my favorite one was Ricky Bobby at Texas in Talladega Nights going backwards against Jamie McMurray. I was like, wow, same track, and he did it. He actually did it.
Yeah.
That was so impressive. I don't care what anybody says, man. That was
it's
awesome.
hard to do that.
He went all the way around the track backwards.
Pretty much, yeah, and at pretty decent speed.
And how did he do that?
I
don't
mean,
understand.
Ty Gibbs couldn't even drive forward on pit road. What the hell was that?
I don't know.
Why in the world is he He's 3 lanes over.
He has more problems on pit road than anybody, I think.
You know what it looked like? It looked like he was trying to change the channel on the radio.
Could be.
Like he was going through his CDs, trying to put a new CD in.
And that was that was a disastrous, like almost catastrophic end to Denny Hamlin's day.
Oh yeah, if he'd have hit they said on DBC, he was a foot from being outside looking in right now.
Yep.
1 foot difference, and he's wrecked for the day.
Yeah, Denny's got to be thanking his lucky stars that car was drivable after
kidding.
that, because that was just about as bad as you're gonna lose out on some playoff points.
He hit him a freaking ton.
Oh, I know. He didn't know he was coming. He had no idea. Was that worse than Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson's kerfuffle?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man, Denny has a legit reason to be mad. I don't know if Chase did.
Right.
But
I didn't listen to Denny's pod to see if he had anything to say about it.
He kind of throws him under the bus a little bit, which that's to be expected.
He's probably gonna be a little more careful with Ty now that he's signed that new contract. So
that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Gotta be nice to the boss's kid.
Yep.
Or grandson.
Right.
Nepotism. Sorry.
Yeah. We lost some tires this weekend, James.
A bunch. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Kind of scary how comfortable we're getting with tires falling off cars.
Yeah. Seems like the old 5-lug system didn't have that problem.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, as long as the wheel comes off and breaks the actual rim and it comes apart in pieces like it's doing, I guess that's better. It's safer. It's not getting airborne as much, but man, all it takes is one car to hit it.
Yep.
But, Austin Dillon loses one. Todd Gilliland lost one.
Which set up our last restart. Kyle Busch, I guess they called him in on the radio. What did they say on the radio to him? Seemed like it was fine. And he said, no, something's not right.
Yeah, but I don't think he didn't have a loose wheel. I think he had a tire going down.
Yeah, that thing was just all discombobulated.
Yeah.
His came apart.
And I don't know, James, it could have just, because he went wide and got debris on the tires. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was it, and the spin had nothing to do with it. He just pushed it too hard into one.
Yeah.
I mean, it snapped loose. It was weird, but I don't know.
So was Larson's deal too. I mean,
I didn't with the old car. I would have said, yeah, he's spinning out, but we haven't seen a car suck one around like that with this new car.
Yep.
But man, Bubba didn't give him any room though. But no, Bubba didn't do anything wrong. That's the way you want to do it.
No, Bubba thought he did something wrong, I think, initially, but then he cleared his head with the Larson deal, that is.
Yeah.
So, Bubba did everything he was supposed to do.
Yeah. I mean, and they mentioned it on DBC. This is probably Bubba's best NASCAR weekend ever. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he got a third place finish out of the deal, but he started on the pole. He led 111 laps, more laps he's ever led in a race. Top car all day long, and just loses on the last restart. That's a hugely successful day. And I know it's easy for Bubba not to look at that and accept that when you didn't get the win and you're not locked in.
Right.
But he's got to be proud of that day. That's a big improvement for that team that, I was ready to throw the towel in on earlier this season.
Well, they're fighting for the round of 8. I mean, you can't ask for much more out of that team, especially when you came in as the last seed in the playoff.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
they're already farther than they probably should have been.
Exactly. You mentioned the playoffs. We already talked about Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Tyler Reddick also outside looking in. Pretty close though. Kyle Busch is only 17 points out. Blaney's 11 points out, and both Reddick and Bubba 2 and 3 points out. So pretty close there. Lots can change. On the front side of things, Kyle Larson's only 2 points to the good. Brad Keselowski's 8 points to the good. Ross Chastain is 12 to the good, and Martin Truex Jr. is 19 to the good. And I mean, really, Denny Hamlin's the safest, but he's only 37 points to the good. So
yeah, he should be okay. He'll get through. He should be okay.
Gotta get through Talladega without wrecking.
Just get through Talladega. Yeah.
Yep.
I think the one you got to worry about is Brad. If he doesn't, I mean, he'll be good at Talladega. He's just got to not get caught up in crap.
I think you got to worry about Kyle Larson.
Yeah,
Kyle Larson can't. He's not a bad restrictor plate racer, but he just cannot finish one of these races.
This is Well, then they show up at Talladega with busted parts on the car before the race starts. That's part of that too.
I'm more confident with Brad because Brad's usually there at the end.
Yeah, this race was a disaster for Kyle. This was as bad as you could possibly have it be because if he just finishes that race and doesn't win, he's totally fine.
Yep.
Going into Talladega, even with not a whole heck of a lot of playoff points, he's still in pretty good shape at Talladega. You can survive. Now he's got to fight, and he's got to scratch and claw at Talladega and the Roval, which is not ideal. It's just not where you want to be, even though you've got a good car. But it's what do you do?
If you're Kyle Larson, you don't want to go into the Roval down. You don't want to be outside looking in.
Yeah.
I'd be worried about Ross Chastain too. Chastain has won on a super speedway, but he's also wrecked out of a lot of them.
Yeah.
So
and he finished second in this race. We should mention that he came out of nowhere, finished second, and had all sorts of problems.
But he's a checkers or wreckers at super speedways.
Yes, he is.
And so if that goes the wrong direction, it could be bad. And then again, we mentioned Martin Truex Jr. He's terrible here.
Yep.
He's not been good on super speedways at all. He could be running the Natalie Decker line back, half a lap behind everybody and still get involved in the wreck. So,
the one thing I'll say Larson's got going for him, I think, is he's got 3 teammates who have nothing to gain in this race. So if you've got one thing, like team meeting comes in, hey, protect the 5 at all costs.
That's true. Is that an advantage for Ryan Blaney too? He's got one of the best restrictor player super speedway drivers
I think that's all part of it.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's an advantage.
Push Blaney, right?
Right. And I think it's an advantage for RFK too, because you just stick together. I mean, you guys both got to go. So just stick together and go. There's a lot of advantages to having teammates out of the playoffs or, like that, like in the case of RFK, you've got 2 cars.
Yep.
But I think it's definitely an advantage, to help, especially when you've got strength in numbers with Hendrick. And maybe, maybe the Ford camp goes, well, help those RFK guys out,
right?
Stuart Haas and things like, I don't know what manufacturers have a huge sway over these races now.
Yes, they do.
So I'd like to see, I mean, I'm sure Chevrolet wants to make sure the Golden Goose is protected as much as possible. So
yeah,
we'll see.
How many of those Chevrolet folks are paying attention and how many of them are striking right now? I mean, it's something to think about. How is that affecting the resources the Chevy teams are getting going into the playoffs or in the middle of the playoffs?
Yep.
So
not a bad point.
Yeah. William Byron gets his 10th victory in 210 NASCAR Cup Series races, his 6th this season. 6th victory and 16th top 10 finish in 2023. It's Hendrick Motorsports' 300th Cup Series victory. Most victories by a team in the Cup Series.
Ooh, I had the statistics on this, Eric. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, well, thank NASCAR and their race facts.
While I'm doing that, I'll multitask. William Byron, looking ahead now, he's a lock at the Final Four at this point, right? I mean, look at those tracks he's got coming up.
Probably.
He's got Las Vegas and Homestead. He should be totally fine, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can lock anybody in yet, but yeah.
But boy, does he look good. He looks really good now.
He's going to get a win in one of those races, you would think.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Or he doesn't even, he probably won't even have to. He'll be.
I don't think he'll have to. No, he just needs to not have a bad day.
Yeah. So do you want the list of Hendrick Motorsports all-time winners?
Sure.
All right. There's been 20 winners for Hendrick Motorsports in the Cup Series.
Nice.
Jeff Gordon is number 1 all-time, 93. Jimmy Johnson is second, 83. Third place, Chase Elliott.
Really?
Yep, 18 wins for Hendrick Motorsports. Now, Kyle Larson is 4th, 16. Now, that's not all of Kyle Larson's career wins. Obviously, he won with Chip. Terry Labonte had 12. William Byron.
Wow, that's funny.
10.
I thought Terry Labonte had more than that. I mean, I know he won in other cars too, but
Junior Johnson, I think he racked some up. But yeah, Terry Labonte had 12. William Byron 10. Darrell Waltrip 9. So the top 7 all have Cup championships except for William Byron. So
I'm really glad you brought that to the show because that is really, really interesting.
Yeah, Tim Richmond 9, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 9, Alex Bowman 7. That's your top 10.
Wow.
Tied for 10th is Jeff Bodine. And then I'll just rip through these really quick. Casey Kane, Mark Martin, Ken Schrader, Kyle Busch, Ricky Rudd, Jerry Nadeau, Joe Nemechek, Brian Bickers, Casey Mears, all with wins for Hendrick Motorsports.
Wow. I like that. That's interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, it was a good list. I was like, ooh, this is a good one. I saw another one where I think Tim Richmond had the best win percentage for Hendrick Motorsports.
That makes sense.
It was like, I think he won 1 out of every 5 races or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wish we could have seen what Tim Richmond actually could have brought.
Yeah, with early Hendrick.
Yeah. He was something, man. He certainly a talent.
What a list of names on that.
That's really interesting. I would not have guessed that.
But you've got Kyle Busch 15th all time on a list.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good list of drivers.
The top 2 didn't surprise me, but everybody else pretty much did. So
yeah, yep. So there you go. William Byron's climbing the charts, and if he wants to win a championship, he's probably got to pass Terry Labonte here. Get pretty darn close to it. So, yep, pretty cool, pretty good list.
Very cool. Ty Gibbs was your highest finishing rookie in this race, 33rd for Ty Gibbs. And that is the Cup Series at Texas. Anything else to add to that before we move on to Xfinity, James?
Nope, I think we're good.
Before we dive into the Xfinity race, I forgot to ask this last week, and we didn't have a discussion on it. We don't have to have a long discussion on it tonight, but I just want to go back to Bristol. And Justin Allgaier's leading, Dale Jr. second. Does Dale Jr. pass Justin Allgaier and take the clinching of the next round away from him? Do you think Dale Jr. passes Allgaier to win that race?
I'd like to believe he would.
I would like to believe he would too, but I don't think he would.
I'd like to believe he would.
I don't think he would have. I think the team owner would have come out and he would not have passed Allgaier. Fortunately, we didn't have to worry about it, and not to mention, even if Junior wouldn't have caught on fire, we still wouldn't have to worry about it because Allgaier had fresh tires and he was faster. But
Dale would never answer that.
No, he would never answer that question.
No. But it'd be fun to ask, fun to know.
Yeah, it would.
He was all fired up on the podcast today, by the way.
Yeah, I listened to a little bit of it. I didn't listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, well, I got a little nugget from it. I'll share it once we get to the news.
Good deal.
Yeah, he was all fired up.
NASCAR Xfinity Series had the Andy's Frozen Custard 3000 endurance race, lasted all day. What a race, man. John Hunter Nemecheck gets himself another win, leads 38 laps on the day. Speaking of Justin Allgaier, 133 laps led from him, but lots of cautions, a lot of wrecks. 12 cautions, 65 laps in this one. 65 laps out of 200 were run under caution. And we wrecked on the first lap. The second turn we wrecked, and then we wrecked coming off of turn 4.
Just like the inaugural Cup race in '97.
My gosh, this race was a
Wadded
mess.
him up.
And I'll tell you what, Justin Allgaier needs to sit down with Sam Mayer and show him his slip up in turn 2, because Allgaier lifted and he didn't wreck. And yes, he lost the win probably because of it, but he didn't wreck. And Sam Mayer pounded the wall because he never lifted. That's the difference between experience and a young guy.
Yep, and a young guy. Yep, and having a win in your pocket does help.
Yeah, that too.
It does help.
But yeah, I don't really have much to say about this race. It was a wreck fest, which Texas kind of has become with the Xfinity Series.
Can you explain to me? Now I watch the Xfinity Series. I keep tabs on the Xfinity Series, but I think you actually
I watch
the
every
races.
weekend.
Yeah, clearly watch the races with more intensity than I do. In this quick summary, can you explain to me what the heck is going on with Parker Kligerman?
I don't know, man.
That's a really good run for him.
He almost won this race.
I know.
He honestly almost won this race, and he messed up blocking John Hunter. I don't think he would have held off John Hunter. I think John Hunter was way faster. But man, it was close. I thought he was going to win this thing.
Yeah, I was hoping to find clarity because I can't figure it out.
They're just peaking at the right time, man. I guess. They are an RCR affiliated team.
Yeah, but they also have to overcome Bristol. We should mention that Bristol
that's true.
Set them back, but still. But
they're on the RCR campus, so I'm sure they're getting help from RCR. But no, I don't know.
It's just impressive. He's top fiving his way. He's been top fiving since Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
I'm just thoroughly. I love it for Parker.
Dude, I was rooting so hard for him. I wanted to see him win this race so bad.
I know. I just love it. I just don't have any clarity on it because I don't know where it came from. I'm like, man, oh man, Parker.
No, they've been good all season. Like they've been there. Obviously,
they made the playoffs. Yeah.
But they haven't been contending for wins, and certainly not on an oval.
It's for whatever reason they got to. Once they got past Loudon, they've been really on a tear. Ever since Loudon, they've been running really, really good. So, but that's crazy.
Should I throw my soapbox down real quick?
I know where you're going, and go for it, my man.
Brennan Poole tries to knock the pit wall down, and I will argue yet again. In fact, I even got somebody tweeted at me and asked me what my thoughts on it. I will say again, man, we need a pit wall on these tracks, and no place is it more obvious than having it happen at Texas as we go to Talladega next weekend. Because, and they mentioned it on DBC that if that tire would have hooked, so if that wheel would have broken off and done what Chris Buescher's did at Charlotte last year and hooks underneath the car and pops that thing up in the air, he's going right through that pit box, and he is flying.
Yep.
I was honestly worried that pit wall wasn't going to hold.
That and what if we had live green flag pit stops?
Yeah. James, what if it happened during qualifying when all the cars are lined up on pit road and all the drivers are standing there?
They I don't know. It should be considered. I know it's rare, but it should be considered.
TJ Majors was throwing a fit and arguing that they can't do it because if somebody wrecks coming off of turn 4. But Charlotte has an inside pit wall coming off of turn 4 now. Mm-hmm. It doesn't go the full length of pit road for some stupid reason, but it's there where the road course is.
Michigan's got an inside pit wall.
Yeah, they've all got inside. And I think it was either Freddie or Brett that said if they can do it at Dover, they can do it here.
Yep. There's no reason not to.
It is just crazy, and I hope they do this. They need to do it before somebody gets hurt. Not hurt. If there was a pit stop, they were pitting there, somebody would have been killed.
Somebody's gonna get killed. Yep. You can say it because it's true.
Yeah, it's 100% true. I hate this stuff when it's so damn obvious, and we won't fix it until something happens.
You can put an inside retaining wall with a safer barrier. On facing the racing surface. I don't think that's like inconsiderate. And you don't even have
to block the first 8 pit stalls coming off of turn 4 because you can't possibly spin that direction.
And if somebody really educated said, James, maybe having it right next to pit road isn't the best location for it, but we can put it here, then put it wherever the hell is the safest. I don't care what that is. I don't know what the science is on it. Just put something.
Yeah. You don't need to put the wall right on pit road either. You can put it, there's a lot of grass there.
Yeah. Wherever it's safest. You tell me, you get some really smart person to tell me where it's safest to put a wall and put that dang wall in there to.
Michigan back in the day did not have an inside pit wall. They had a guardrail that was about 30 feet away from the asphalt and ran the curve along the front stretch instead of straight across pit road.
Yes, they did. Yep.
Nazareth was like that. Nazareth had a pit wall like that. There was a bunch of grass in between the pit wall and pit road. So
there's no reason not to. I know.
That was the hardest we've seen a car hit pit wall. But keep in mind,
really hard. Yeah.
Cody Ware hit the pit wall last year in the Cup race.
He did. Yeah, he did. He did, and hit it hard.
Yep. So that's 2 times now at this track, 2 years in a row.
Yep.
Let's fix it before somebody dies. We don't need somebody killed.
We don't need somebody dying. Yeah, and Talladega, you said it.
Yeah.
You said it. Talladega doesn't have a pit wall, so.
Yeah, Talladega had to put a freaking pit wall up and a catch fence.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
Because that's just an accident waiting for happen to somebody get airborne coming out of the trial.
We do all these things to protect and be safe, and it's like there's this glaring safety issue. It's glaring, and it's not being addressed.
Just like Talladega for years had no catch fence around the track until Jimmy Horton flew out of the park, and then the next year they put a catch fence up.
That's right.
It's like, come on.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, guys were flying over the walls back in the 50s in Daytona. Now we have,
Yeah.
Lake Lloyd has had some visitors that are boats.
Yeah.
Can we?
Well, I mean, that Goodies Dash series used to wreck everything, and it's not surprising one of those ended up in the pond.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Dexter Stacy, I think it was, is the one who.
There you go. Yeah. It was a blast from the past. Wow. Yeah.
Yep. Anything else worth mentioning this one, James? Again, it was a crash fest. I mean,
that's what happens sometimes. No, I think that's about it.
I mean, really, Parker was the story. Sheldon Creed mustered an 8th place finish with a terrible car. We saw his teammate Austin Hill have trouble. Got involved in a wreck, but still finished 7th.
Oh, and Trevor Bayne looked like he lacked experience out there.
Yeah.
That crash was a little ridiculous.
Yeah. This race was a mess.
Tell you what, though, Trevor's fast.
Yeah.
He hasn't lost that part of it. But boy, that was a weird one.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway.
There you go. John Hunter, that is his 9th victory in 95 Xfinity Series races, 7th victory and 21st top 10 finish in 2023. 7 wins this year, James.
He's high stepping towards Phoenix now. Yeah.
Yes, he is. Sammy Smith with 3rd was the highest finishing rookie in this one.
We'll talk about him later.
Yes, we will. With that, let's talk some news. And James, let's talk about Sammy Smith.
That's good. All right.
Sammy Smith is heading out the door from JGR, leaving Toyota, and going to the 8 car with JRM next year. What do you think of that move?
Toyota's got to fix up the pipeline, I feel like.
I guess
a little bit.
Sammy's a good pickup, man. That's a really good pickup.
That's a really strong driver.
That might be an upgrade pipeline from Josh Berry.
Yeah, well, I mean, youth, yeah.
Potentially, at least. I mean, Sammy's got more to learn than Josh Berry does. Josh Berry is a veteran that's going to be a rookie next year, but still a veteran.
You're talking upside, though, and that's the thing. Sammy Smith is upside. Yeah, Toyota's lost Chandler Smith and Sammy Smith and Kyle Busch all within the last year.
Yeah.
Who else did they lose? They lost somebody else out of the pipeline, too. I can't remember. But anyway, that's a boatload of talent, man, to just let walk out the door for nothing.
Yeah.
But they've got their Ty Gibbs in there. They got their Martin Truex Jr. still locked down, so I guess they're happy.
Keeping Denny, keeping 2311, so.
Oh, yeah, getting legacy.
Yep.
But yeah, this is huge. That's a big one. I was surprised.
Yeah.
But
I didn't see Sammy leaving the Toyota pipeline, but there's nowhere to go. Well,
when Denny signed his deal, I mean, that, John Hunter's going to be there's not a whole lot of room there unless you want to wait for Truex, but I don't know if that's even possible. I don't know.
Like I said, great pickup for JRM. I mean, that's a big move right there.
Oh yeah, it's a great get. They're going to be in the championship hunt next year, no doubt about it.
Definitely.
I was going to ask you too, Eric. So Joe Gibbs Racing's obviously invested in Ty, and I think that's a smart investment.
Yeah.
Ty Gibbs is he's going to win a lot of races, I think.
Yeah.
Does Sammy Smith look at that
and go? He's
not
just getting it because he's Joe's grandson.
No, he's good. He's really good. But does Sammy Smith look up the pipeline and go, well, I can never be number 1. I can only ever be number 2.
Maybe.
Is that part of that, do you think?
Maybe. I mean, he's certainly got to consider it, right? I mean, he's not going to be the number 1 guy there.
Yep.
I mean,
I think that might be part of it. And it's a good equipment in JRM. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
He kind of flexes muscle a little bit, and maybe Chevrolet's got some openings coming up too. So
I know that JGR has, I mean, we just said 7 wins with John Hunter this season.
Yep.
I still think Dale Jr., I think Junior Motorsports is the best team in Xfinity.
Yep.
I know they're having a down year this year, but the down year this year still has, Justin Allgaier racing for a championship.
Yep.
It still has wins with JRM. And they're the difference with JRM, and yes, I know they're a Hendrick subsidiary, kind of. Rick Hendrick's picture is on the wall at Junior Motorsports, but this is an Xfinity team that cares about Xfinity, and that's it. Whereas JGR is a Cup team that has an Xfinity team, so that you're getting more resources going toward your team at Junior Motorsports than you would at JGR, in my opinion. So now Toyota brings a lot to the table. Toyota, we know, is a different deal than Chevy and Ford. I mean, what they bring to a team is a lot. There's a lot of support there, and I think we see that in KBM this year. There's definitely been a slippage of performance there as a result.
Yep.
I mean, Kyle didn't get worse in the truck. He underperformed there because of the switch. So, I don't know. It's interesting, but great move, great pickup by JRM, a team that I wasn't sure how they were going to fill that eight seat.
That's as good as you can do.
Yeah, can't do any better than that.
And you got sponsorship to boot. You got Pilot J and a good driver. So, really, really good pickup.
Yep, agreed. Ryan Preece resigns with 41 for 2024. I don't think that's a surprise, right?
No.
I think we kind of expected him back.
And I think we know now it's a year-to-year basis for that 41. Yeah. So I'm sure he's got 1 year to prove it. I don't know how much longer he's got, but we'll see. We shall see. Bob
Pockrass tweeted today that he fully expects SHR to be a 4-car team next season. Still no word on Almirola. He said that he does not expect Almirola to come back. That's kind of the word, but stranger things have happened. Cole Custer penned as the likely replacement for Almirola if he leaves. I wanted to ask you about that, James, what your thoughts are on that.
God, it's so bad. I'm so worried about that organization. Oh. Yeah. Man.
So here's the thing, though. So I delved into the Twitter sphere on this and read some of the comments on Bob's, and somebody posted that Custer hasn't done enough in the Xfinity series. He needs another year there, and I'm like, what? I mean, I know he hasn't done much this year, but the last time he was in the Xfinity series, he won like 8 races and almost won the championship. So like, I think he's proven himself in the Xfinity series, and personally. James, I don't think another year in the Xfinity Series is going to do anything for him. If anything, it's setting him backwards for the Cup Series.
He's already been sent backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you really want him to, if you don't want to move him back up to Cup, I think you put him in the Truck Series if you want him to learn anything, because I don't think he's learning anything in that Xfinity car.
At one time, their roster consisted of Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, all on the same team.
Yeah.
And now you've got a rookie Josh Berry, an up-and-coming Chase Briscoe who's got a lot to prove, nobody in the 10 car.
Right.
That maybe Cole Custer, and Ryan Preece, an unproven Ryan Preece. This is, I don't know, man. That's pretty shaky stable.
If Kevin Harvick's running the way he's running, can you put any of the blame on Cole Custer?
No, you can't.
I mean,
he's just a young driver. Unfortunately, Cole got the boot, pretty quickly. I mean,
I think he got it too quickly. I mean, I was surprised that we booted him to put Ryan Preece in there, to be honest.
Well, Tony had a hunch about Ryan Preece. I don't think Tony's completely wrong about Ryan Preece, but the cars are so bad.
No, I don't think he's wrong either. But I don't think he's wrong about Ryan Preece having potential. I just don't think that Cole Custer's a disaster.
No, Cole Custer's a winner in the Cup Series. He's not. Yeah. He's not chopped liver. He's same with Chase Briscoe. I know Chase Briscoe's having a rough year, but that dude's really freaking good.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw him go toe to toe with Kyle Busch and win a whole bunch of races. He can win. These guys can win. They just got to put it together with the organization. But the organization's in bad shape. They got no sponsorship. They've got lackluster, drivers at the current moment, it's pretty rough. If you're an SHR fan, you're in pretty dark days.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't disagree with you. It's certain, but I don't think keeping Cole Custer in the Xfinity Series another year, if there's an open ride in the Cup Series, makes any sense. I mean, who else are you going to put in the Cup car? Who do you got right now? You got nobody.
No, I wouldn't put Riley Herbst in there.
No, hell no.
No.
I mean, you can't make it out of turn 4 at Texas, so.
Yeah, watch him win at Talladega or something.
Right.
I think he's running in the Cup race.
Maybe they could put Daniel Hemrick in there. Oh wait, we can't do that because that's already been done. And
well, they could always hire Haley Deegan.
Yeah, there you go.
Jeez. Man.
We're expecting the Cup Series schedule this week. Is that what you heard?
I saw it. Yep. I did see.
Last I heard, it was delayed another couple weeks. So
yeah, I said possibly. It's possibly this week into next week is when they expect the schedule to come out.
You have in here a rumor North Wilkesboro will get 2 races in 2024. However, there was some news today from Save the Speedway that went out on Twitter that notes that their the state budget has I put $4 million, but it's $42 million. $42 million for Wilkes, $4 million for Speedway Motorsports Incorporated, because of having the All-Star race in North Wilkesboro. He notes in here that Elmore and SMI also committed to having 2 NASCAR events the following season. Mm-hmm. One is the Brushy Mountain Power Sports 150, part of the NASCAR Wayland Modified Tour on September 30th. So the second NASCAR race may not be a Cup race.
But to be considered though.
Yes.
To be considered because we've got dates moving around. There's tracks that we know of that are
let's talk about that because this all kind of runs together.
It all runs together.
So the doubleheader that we heard rumored that was going to be Richmond, or it was going to be 2 different tracks, and then it was going to be Richmond. Now sounds like it isn't happening.
Nope.
Which is interesting because I don't know how they're going to have off weekends for the Olympics if they don't do that, but somehow they're going to pull it off. Because I can't imagine you're moving Darlington out of the playoffs, so the playoffs have to start at the same time.
You can't start Daytona a few weeks earlier because we know the Clash is already in place.
Yeah. The NASCAR Xfinity Series could be returning to Iowa this season or next season.
Possibly the Cup Series.
Yeah, the rumor is the Cup Series could go there because Montreal is on the outs at the moment right now.
So I'd love to see Iowa. Yeah, I would love to see Iowa get on the schedule.
I will be there if they go to Iowa. I will be there.
Cool.
Texas will likely have a spring race. That's kind of just putting 2 and 2 together. The NASCAR or the IndyCar Series announced their schedule, and Texas is no longer on it.
Yeah, they that's a shame because that's one of the best places to run. I mean, real high speed IndyCar, which is kind of a bummer to lose that one. But
yeah, I mean, NASCAR did ruin it for the IndyCars with the PJ1, but it's gotten better, and they did an interesting thing this year where they had all the teams, gave the teams an extra set of tires to go run the top groove in during practice, which helped the IndyCar race this year. So, and Dale Jr. says the Roval's gone next year.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So, what do you think about that?
Well, I fell for a satire site.
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did.
And then Dale Jr. said that, so I didn't feel so bad. But yeah, the thing that I fell for said that the Coke 600 was moving.
Yeah.
And it was like I was like, there's no way that's happening. So at least my radar was up, even though I fell for it.
Right.
But yeah, I'm actually okay with that. The Roval served its purpose. Now we have a really good 1.5 mile package. Let's run 1.5 miles.
I'm not okay with it just because I like the Roval. I mean, I'm not losing any sleep over this, James. I don't care that much. But I don't want to, I like the Roval. And it will die on the cross that I don't think we should race at any place twice if you're going to race the same track twice.
Well, what if North Wilkesboro gets a points paying race and we run the Roval for the All-Star race?
I don't really like the Roval for an All-Star race, I don't think.
Remember we did the Clash on the road course at Daytona.
I don't think a road course exhibition race is a good idea unless you do something like what we talked about with like a 24 hours of Daytona or a 12-hour endurance or something like that, or 6-hour, something interesting like that. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'll be happy to watch the Charlotte race on the oval. It probably will increase my chances of going to Charlotte because I just can't seem to make Memorial Day weekend work, but I
Yeah.
certainly could make the fall race work. So, so I'd like that, but I don't know.
What do you think of Dale Earnhardt Jr., the newsbreaker?
Yeah, that's not new. Junior's funny because he'll talk about stuff that he talks like it's fact when nobody else has even let the rumor out about it yet. So he's in the know. Well, and then he'll act like he doesn't know certain things, and it's like he knows. He knows. He's especially
in the loop
SMI stuff because he's in with Marcus Smith. And Marcus tells him all kinds of stuff.
And he's in with the TV provider. You don't think he doesn't know what the second half of the schedule looks like already next year?
Yeah, he's already planning his Xfinity races, so he knows.
NBC knows what the schedule is.
Oh, hell
I'm going to tell you that right now. So does Fox.
And I mean, Junior's not new to breaking news. Last year, he broke the Kyle Busch news, so.
There you go. See? Dale Jr., the newsbreaker.
Dale Jr.'s he's just the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, my God.
That's all I can say.
Yes, he is.
Hendrick Motorsports has added 2 Xfinity races to the schedule for this season.
In the 17?
Yeah, Raja Carruth getting a start and Boris Said getting a start. Boris Said will start at the Roval. Where's Carruth racing?
He's racing last race of the season at Phoenix.
There you go.
That's an incredible opportunity for that.
Yeah, really good opportunity. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do because I think he's got more talent than what he can show in the car.
Well, this is going to be a nice little glimpse. If he has a nice clean race, runs fast, I think that's a really good day for him.
Yeah.
So I love it. Love to see it.
Yep, I agree. Anything else with the news?
That was all I saw so far, but man, it came out fast and furious today. I had the notes started, and then I was like, dang it. I had to keep going back in and checking it out. So everything looks we had a great Stuart Haas announcement that they're running the Wonder Bread and the
that is good. That is good.
From Talladega Nights, Preece and Briscoe.
Yeah,
so
they'll be quoting
cool.
movie quotes during the race.
They've been tweeting back and forth, which has been kind of fun.
I know. I retweeted Ryan Preece with the Cougar in the car today.
Yep. So, you sat next to a Cougar.
I did. I sat in the Talladega Nights car, man.
Yep. So there you go. Pretty cool.
Yeah, good stuff. No, that'll be fun. I always love when they do those little tie-ins. It's always good of NASCAR to latch on to something that was a decade ago.
I don't care if people don't. I don't care if people don't like it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's just, man, it's a great sponsorship opportunity. And if you got sponsors coming on board to do it and who want to do it, by all means.
Heck yeah. I know that some people didn't really appreciate Talladega Nights, and they did make fun of us a little bit. It was pretty silly, but it's still good.
Matter. Yeah, it's good.
What's going on with Days of Thunder 2? Have you heard any news on that?
I haven't heard any news on that, but the writer's strike is over. So
you're right. That's a good
sign.
sign.
Now that the writer's strike's over, we know that the office is coming back, so we got to be careful.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't know. Hey, it's that thing though where like Arrested Development, if we just ignore it, it didn't happen.
Right.
Like a tree falling in the woods. If nobody's around, nobody will know.
Yeah. You know what I don't want to ignore, James?
What's that?
This is the best week of the year.
It is.
We are heading into Talladega, and we get 2 best weeks of the year because we go to Talladega twice. But this is Talladega in the playoffs. I love this week. I love Talladega. It is my favorite track on the schedule, even having not been there. It's also the scariest. I get nervous watching this.
I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna give you credit. You've been there.
Not for a race, but I've been there.
Yep.
That's the cover of the podcast next year is the front stretch of Talladega. So
it is the super speedway. So
yes. Looking forward to it. Yellowwood 500 for the NASCAR Cup Series, the Truck Series in action as well as the Love's RV Stop 250. NASCAR Xfinity takes the weekend off. We get to make our picks, James. This is just stupid. I don't even care anymore because it's over. I mean, there's no chance I'm coming back. I have to find them though. Where are they at here?
I have it pulled up if you want to see.
Beat me by 25 points. You got another win. I haven't won all season.
Third, yep. It is only the third win of the year.
Yeah.
My third win of the year.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I've locked myself into the round of 8.
I get to first pick, so I'm going to pick the guy that you're probably going to pick, the one who's going to push him to the win.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go I'm going Chris Buescher for this one. So
all right, I'm going Brad Keselowski. It's Talladega. I'm taking Brad.
Yeah.
It's my biggest vice in all of pickdom.
Yeah. There you go. How'd fantasy go this week? I didn't look at fantasy. I was at one point during the race. I didn't look at the results, but I know I was doing really good.
you were doing good. I was doing really good. I had all my bonuses locked in. I was doing great. Kyle Larson was going to win. And then Kyle Larson crashed.
Yep, I had Kyle as well.
So what ended up happening with that is Jeff Gordon for GOAT got the win, 213. Eric, even with Kyle Larson crashing, you finished second.
Nice.
203. I think everybody in the league had Larson. I finished third with 186. So there you go with that overall. Or excuse me, I'll do playoff standings next. I am in the lead there, 822. Ranger is second, and Freight Train is third. And overall standings, the Barron Speedway Memorial Cup is pretty much locked down. He's got a 332-point lead. I am in second, and Ranger is in third. He's only 6 points behind me. So we keep swapping second and third, but I held serve this week. So
Nice.
there you go. It's a close battle still for second place. That's the race. The race to second.
I could have made it to the TV in time to watch this live and be able to work the bench at the end of stage 2, but I had Super Motocross, the last round of Super Motocross left to watch, and I figured it's Texas, and I'm not going to want to sit through commercial breaks at Texas because it's probably going to be long enough. So I decided to keep it delayed, and that worked out really good because I caught up at the very end of the race. Like, there was 20 laps to go, and I caught up to live. It was great. It's perfect timing.
Yes. Can't do any much better than that.
No. Got to watch Super Motocross as well, which is awesome. Good to see that go down. So, James, got any shout-outs this week?
Yes, I do. I went to the grocery store, our local grocery store. They're never going to hear this. And they had a huge Monster Energy display. And in that Monster Energy display was one Ty Gibbs, a big old cutout of Ty Gibbs, and pinned on his shirt was a Saginaw Valley, or pinned onto his chest was a Saginaw Valley t-shirt, Saginaw Valley State University t-shirt, and I had a laugh.
Nice.
I just had a laugh. They just covered up the whole point of the display was to advertise Monster, and then they pinned up a t-shirt on top of Ty Gibbs's chest. So
That's awesome.
shout out to the local store. Shout out to Saginaw Valley State University. That made me laugh. Thank you very much.
That's good stuff. I will give my shout out to the aforementioned Super Motocross. They had 3 playoff rounds over the last 3 weeks. Very, very fun to see. Interesting format the way they did it. It was single points for round 1, which was at Charlotte on the road course or on the drag strip. And then Chicagoland the second week was double points, and then they raced at the Coliseum this week with triple points for the championship. Congratulations to Hayden Deegan, Haley's brother, who gets the championship in the 250 class. And
Did he lose a race? Did he win everything?
he did lose. I don't think he won actually a race at all. He just,
Oh, did he? Okay.
He finished like second and third the whole playoffs.
I'm keeping track of this on the fringes.
He almost won the motocross championship, but lost it right at the end.
Oh, okay.
I didn't watch the motocross. The super motocross was interesting because it was kind of a mix of motocross and supercross. I'm not sure how much I liked it, but
he went viral for some of the jumps that he was able to take.
Yeah.
That were just it seemed absolutely ridiculous. So
he's incredible. And the cool thing is he won the championship at the Coliseum, which is where his dad won his lone supercross race. And Brian, when he won the supercross race, ghost rode his bike at the finish line. Hayden did not know he won the championship when he crossed the line, so he did not ghost ride his bike, but probably would have been frowned upon. The AMA usually doesn't like you doing that. Also, congratulations to Jet Lawrence, who won the 450 championship, which went right down the line too. That was a good race. Really cool to see the bikes back in the Coliseum. If you're not familiar with Supercross, the Coliseum, that's where Supercross was born, is the LA Coliseum, and they race up and down the stands up through the peristyle, which is pretty sweet. Nice big ski jump off the top of the peristyle down to the flat. Very cool. So good to see that. Congratulations to those guys. And now the Super Motocross season is done. The schedule's out for next year. And we start first of the year with more Supercross. So there you go. Black flags. Any black flags this week, James?
yes. Ryan Gatos of Fox News. You bum.
I saw your tweet.
They wrote this just clickbait.
I didn't
thing
read
about,
the piece because I knew it would piss me off.
It made me mad. That's all I'll say. But I'll say his name. He writes for Fox News. There you go.
James, I'm going to black flag myself.
Oh.
I'm going to black flag myself for all of
spicy.
the bad things I said about Natalie Decker a couple weeks ago.
Oh, you got a new squeeze coming in, eh?
I mean, Tony Breidinger shared out her Victoria's Secret post today. And I felt bad for bashing Natalie Decker because, I mean, I will say at least Tony Breidinger is doing it for a sponsor that sponsors her in racing. But, yeah. So black flagged me for bashing Natalie Decker. You know what, girls? Do what you got to do. If it gets you views, take it. So there you go.
Yeah, well.
That is all I'll say. Hey, if Victoria's Secret's going to be in the sport, I mean, I guess that's cool.
Remember when Kim Kardashian was a sponsor of a race car?
Right.
Who was that, too? It was some Mike Bliss. Bliss drove the Kim Kardashian car, so there you go.
Yeah, well, Mark Martin drove the Viagra car, so there you go. No, I'm poking fun and stuff, and I mean, the photo shoot looked good. But anyway, we talked about it when Victoria's Secret was on the car for her. That's a cool deal. I mean, it's nice to see sponsors like that come into the sport. Not to be sexist, but to be able to bring the female crowd in and have female-oriented sponsors in NASCAR. You know, you wouldn't have thought you'd have that, 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's cool to see. So, and I mean, worth following on social media too. Get me out of this, James. Get myself in trouble. James,
close us out.
Where can they find you on social media during the week, James?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at Victoria's Secret. I mean, at T Super
at the
Speedway.
local Victoria's Secret.
Yeah. At T Super Speedway on Twitter as well. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find old episodes of the podcast there, race coverage, photos, etc. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and Anchor, or Spotify Podcast. I don't know what the hell it's called anymore, but you can subscribe there wherever you found us for new episodes each week. And if you go to anchor.fm/thesuperspeedway, you can leave us an audio message, and we might just play it on the show. Best week of the year, Talladega Superspeedway coming up this weekend, NASCAR Cup Series and NASCAR Truck Series in action. We'll be back next week to break it all down and talk about all the fun happenings there and get us ready for the Roval and the end of the round of 12. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.